college football last weekend. It was an interesting one. Once again, like every weekend, it seems college football is filled with surprises this year. I did okay, specifically on Friday night with my Arizona State pick, but my Michigan pick, it depends when you listen to the episode, I would like to specify, because that line did very soon turn to a -2.5, and if you took that, Michigan did win. The under that I picked did not hit, but Michigan -2.5, that did win. The -3.5 pick that I had, not quite. But Brett, I have a feeling that there is a game of revenge in the SEC going on this week because Alabama lost last week. And I would not want to be whoever is facing them this week because I think they're going to run up the score and play a full four quarters and do it with a certain level of aggression and intent to make sure they get a win. So even though they're traveling to Mississippi State, which is Mike Leach, and the air raid offense, which is fine, and saying, go ahead and score some points. We'll go and score some points as well. I don't know if Mississippi State can score some points against this Alabama defense when they're this mad. And -17.5, that's not going to scare me away from this line at all, to be honest. So Bama -17.5, I'm jumping all over this line, Brett.
Yeah, I think that's the side to be on as well, Higgins. I guess, what gives me some pause just looking at the other side, playing devil's advocate. Can you write the narrative that Mississippi State covers? Yeah, I could write that narrative. Maybe Bryce Young isn't as good as we thought. Maybe, you know, you bring in years of 5-star recruits. Maybe one recruiting class just isn't as good as all the other years, and that's this year. So there's some possibility that Mississippi State keeps this close, Higgins, but I'm with you 110% on this one. If I'm betting this game, there's one side I'm on, and it's Alabama. I could even see Alabama hitting over 57 all by themselves, getting all the way to like 55 in this one. And, maybe Mississippi State gets that field goal over for us.
Well, let's keep it in Alabama as well because I don't want to just say Roll Tide. I also want to say War Eagle because Auburn's traveling to Arkansas, Brett, and that's going to be an interesting game as well. I don't know if you saw the Arkansas Ole Miss game that was 52-51. Arkansas lost their second game in a row. They're still ranked at 4-2. Auburn's not. Auburn might take that as a shot of disrespect. I like what I've seen a little bit out of Bo Nix, at least in terms of his fight and not being willing to give up on a score. So, +4.5. Maybe Auburn doesn't win this game, but maybe it's only a field goal. I like the +4.5 here, so I'm going to be riding with the Auburn Tigers as well.
Yeah, I think the dip we've seen in Arkansas has more to do with their quarterback's health, KJ Jefferson. He got injured a few games ago. He's played through it, but has not looked the same as the first four games of the year. I still think Sam Pittman is on his way to getting his Coach of the Year award. So I cannot be on the same side as you here, Higgins. But to be fair, I'm not betting this one. So I am going to be heavily rooting for you. Go Tigers, War Eagle, all of it. I actually saw a very funny tweet. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago now at this point when BC played Clemson. And the tweet was, Auburn fans must be so confused having to choose between an eagle and a tiger when you can have both. So I thought that was pretty funny, and I just thought I'd mention it here since we were talking about Auburn.
I like that. Yeah, I'm going to be on Auburn. I'm going to be on Bama. Maybe I just make it an the state of Alabama parlay, and I also throw something on them together. I'm not going to do that on the
Oh, come on, get Troy
here.
in there. Don't
But
leave out Troy.
Don't
Don't
that's
leave
what I'm
out
saying.
Troy.
Maybe I'm going to do some more research on some other Alabama schools, see what those lines are at. Maybe
Come
we'll make
on,
an Alabama
Troy.
parlay. But Brett, last thing I'll say about this is Arkansas's defense, they've done a lot of running the past 2 weeks. I mean, they gave up 37 points to Georgia, 52 points to Ole Miss. Maybe that's just their new narrative and they're fine with running it around a lot. And I'm looking at that and That's just, you look at the Ole Miss Tennessee over under. That thing's huge. 82 and a half. That's the biggest I've seen this season. I understand Ole Miss scored 52 points last week, but is it because Arkansas's defense has just been ran around and ran to death, or is it because Ole Miss's offense can really do that much work?
Well, I think it's a lot of this is about Ole Miss and Tennessee. Ole Miss isn't going to stop anyone, and they're going to score a lot. Tennessee has gone to Virginia Tech transfer Hayden Hooker over their last few games, and their offense is much improved. Actually, it's so improved. Hayden Hooker has basically done at Tennessee what Virginia Tech has done on offense all year. So, that's going to help having him as the dual threat guy. And I don't think Ole Miss will be tackling too well, but 82 and a half, no, sir, you will not catch me anywhere near that. I will say this, Higgins. I was maybe thinking about Tennessee plus 2.5 at home. I do not like backing the Volunteers. They're a team program that I would say since T. Martin has just let you down game in and game out. So unless T. Martin and Philip Fulmer and Eric Berry and Peyton Manning are coming out that tunnel, Jamal Lewis, I don't think I'll be backing the Vols, but the plus 2.5 minus 104, that's the side I'm looking at. If something comes over me on Saturday morning and I happen to bet it, I'm sure that's where I'll be.
Listen, both these offenses average over 40 points per game. The over 82 and a half may be possible. I can't ever talk myself into taking an over 80 position before a game's even started. Maybe in a live scenario, maybe. That's a strong maybe. But I mean, any given day, these offenses could just have a bad day and only put up 20 points.
Yeah.
And like, that's
Yeah,
what's terrifying.
35-35 doesn't get it done here, Higgins.
No, it does not. No, it does not. And that's what's hard is if one of these teams just has a bad offensive day, the other team's heavy lifting is just that much greater when that over under is all the way at 82 and a half. The only spot I could recommend someone to be on is that under, but I can't even do that when both these offenses average 46 and 41 points per game. Like, no. No, I can't. It was just a comical line I had to bring up though.
Yeah, definitely an interesting line. One bet I do have for Saturday, BYU takes on Baylor. BYU coming off their loss last week at Boise State. Didn't look so great. Baylor been kind of up and down this year. I'm not a big believer in the Baylor Bears this year. So give me BYU plus 6.5 on the road, Higgins. Jaron Hall, really good player for BYU. He's the quarterback that took over for Zach Wilson. Looks good. BYU's looked good the vast majority of the year outside of last week. So I think they can bounce back here.
Yeah, this line to me like screamed trap game when I was looking at college football lines. To be honest, like I was gonna stay away before I even saw that you were on it, and for the pillars I had to stay away because I'm just looking at it. It's like BYU's the ranked team. I understand both these teams are 5-1, but BYU coming off a loss should be focused, like you said. Baylor, their loss was to a ranked Oklahoma State team, so it's a credible loss, but it's still a loss. And I don't know if this is a full touchdown spread game. That was ringing alarms to me as well, but I couldn't convince myself to jump into this potential trap. I talked myself into a few last week, and what I said, Michigan minus 3.5. Maybe it was a trap. It was a trap. I should have waited for it to be minus 2.5. But I think
Yeah,
you're
we
grabbing
were
this
we
on the
were
right
all
side.
over that. You and I were all over that Michigan line, smelling a little fishy there.
Absolutely. Maybe the BYU moves to a full 7, but grab the 6.5. Just grab the 6.5, right?
Yeah, no reason for it to move the other way, right? So just take more than a touchdown. College kickers, you never know. My favorite thing in sports.
Absolutely.